following podcast is part of the Underdog Sports Podcasting Network. For a full list of our shows, as well as breaking sports news and engaging feature stories, visit us at www.theunderdogsports.com.
Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Saturday, March 31st, 2018. My name is Rich, and joining me once again this week is Bijan. How are you making out?
I'm good, bro. It's interesting. I can see you this time. We're experimenting with a little video podcast thing. It's not going to go up, but I can see you.
Yeah, it's a little different. It is a little odd because you hear the voice every week. And
nice shirt.
Yeah, rocking the Avenger shirt. It's coming up. Infinity War.
Bro, I'm excited. Most importantly, everyone, check out Ready Player One. Always got to represent any novels to movies out there. Brilliant stuff. Steven Spielberg, Ernest Cline. Super excited.
It's a good book. I really like that book. Mm-hmm. And go check out Black Panther if you haven't yet. Everybody else has.
Dude.
It's really good. So good.
To say the least.
But yeah, fortunately, it's not a Marvel podcast. We are here to talk Ninja vs. Ninja, episode 5.
Yeah, it's a fun episode, man. I enjoyed this. Wow. Drama.
It was a weird episode. I narrowly avoided the champ is here. I so thought it was coming. I was actually planning for how I was going to cope with it.
Yeah, I had it. Pretty much towards the end, I had it I was already searching for it. I'm like, all right, let me cue this up. It's happening. It's tough. You know, this is not the way you want a team to go out, unfortunately. I don't know. We can get to it later, but overall, there was a lot of drama. I got to say, this was an episode where there was a lot of ups and downs, but overall, it became very enthralling.
Yeah, it was back and forth a lot. I really liked it. It was good. I had lots of really high hopes for my team. You know, Towers of Power, I thought they were looking good out of the gate. I thought, they're running for Brandon. You know, there was they're going to be inspired. They're going to do great. And man, oh man, it didn't go very well for them at all.
I got to be honest with you. When you said you were choosing Towers of Power, I'm like, what, dude?
You forget, Dan and Brandon kicked butt last year.
Yeah, but Brandon's not even on the team.
But Brandon wasn't there.
And you were the one that knew that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I don't know. And Selena did extremely well last year, too. So, I mean, it was a tough call.
They probably looked worse than they did because of who they were competing against. Because Three Wishes looked amazing this episode. So, yeah, I don't fault them too much, to be honest with you. So, dude, I'm curious, when it comes to Ninja versus Ninja, and I just don't know the answer, hopefully somebody does, do the ninjas get paid to fly out to L.A.? I feel like they have to, because there are instances where, who was the guy that stepped up at the last minute for Towers of Power?
Nate Burkhalter.
Yeah, Nate Burkhalter. I mean, he flew out from, deep in Europe, man.
You know what? That is production BS, what that is. Sure, he's probably there as an alternate.
Oh, he's playing an alternate. Yeah.
Yeah, they just brought in the alternate. It's not like he was called at the last second to fly in. I don't believe that for a second.
No, now that you're saying that, that makes perfect sense. Because, why wouldn't they even choose an alternate in that situation? Yeah. That makes far more sense. That said, I'm still curious if they fly out some of the ninjas, because there are ninjas living far away, and they still have to get to L.A. It's one of those things I just don't know. For the regular season, for the qualifiers, you have to find your way to get to a certain regional qualifier. But this show is a little different.
Yeah, I'm sure they fly them in, at least. I think that would be the least they can do. They do have prize money. It's not as big. It's not $1 million big, but there is prize money they're competing for as well. So there's that.
Yeah, and I feel like we've interviewed somebody before saying that they were all the ninjas stay at a hotel. So now that I think about it, the more we're it's coming back to me. I'm pretty sure they do, because they at least give them housing, all the ninjas and such.
But our first matchup, let's get into the actual episode here. We've got Golden Hearts versus the average JoJos, and I go down how you thought it was going to go.
In what way? I mean, I don't know. I felt like the Golden Hearts were gonna just blow through average JoJo's. To be honest with you,
right? But that's
you're saying because it was way closer than you thought.
The second race. Let's go with the second race. Was not what I expected at all. Jessica Clayton totally blew me away. Like, she just destroyed Natalie on that course. Like, it wasn't even so much a matter of, Natalie making mistakes. Just Jessica was really, really good.
Yeah, Jessica, I mean, do we know a lot about her background? Because I feel like this is one of the first times I've seen her, and she took out one of the top female ninjas in the sport. I mean, that blew me away. She looked very strong, but most importantly, she looked very comfortable and confident on the course.
Yeah,
something very rarely seen from a lot of the newer ninjas,
Yeah, like that was what stood out, I think, is that she looked like a veteran running that course. It wasn't, her skill level was obviously there, but she was just cool, calm, and collected, just taking it down. I'm sure we've probably seen her in local competitions, but I don't recognize the name particularly.
Yeah, it's interesting because we see that she trains at a ninja gym with her children and everything, but we've seen time and time again, there's a big difference between training at a gym and doing all this stuff, maybe even in the regional circuit, and being like when the spotlight is fully on you, when like the show is there and everybody's like everything is on you. That's a whole different scenario and a whole different perspective. And yet, like, she took it in and she just flew through this course. I mean, I was very, very impressed by her.
Yeah, that's a name. We say this a lot, and sometimes we're better at it than others. But I mean, Jessica Clayton, that's a name to watch. I'm curious to see how she does this season on ANW.
Yeah, and I don't know. I like her, man. She's got like she's smiling. She's a mother of what, like three, it seems,
yeah. She's 35,
she's
I think they said.
A strong woman, older. Yeah, she's older. I mean, she can have a lot of fans. She's definitely hitting a fan base and, a perspective that isn't represented as much. We have a lot of moms and older moms, but like, I don't know how many older moms are taking out like Natalie Duran. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a level of skill she's showing there that it would be interesting to see if she can keep it up.
Yeah, that said, this was just the beginning of an episode where Natalie Duran, it just wasn't her night. And I'm not trying to knock Natalie because it's difficult. And we've seen this time and time again where sometimes the competitors just have rough nights. But Natalie fell on the, I think it was the pipes, right?
She fell on the spin cycle, yeah. But that was just her rushing to catch up. I never really hold those types of falls. It's just them rushing because they're a bit behind.
Yeah, but it plays into an overall story of this episode where Natalie seemed to struggle at the beginning parts. Maybe, it could be many things, but once again, it's a mental thing where momentum really plays a major part when it comes to, when you're racing against somebody. We'll go into it later of the fact that she's able to change the tide, so to speak. But it really affected her and it seems her team's standings in the qualifying rounds.
Well, I mean, Jimmy fell on the TikTok, like outright didn't grab. That was nasty. I didn't even see what happened. I was like, I blinked and suddenly he's in the water. I'm like, wait, what? Where did he fall? How did he fall? I had to wait for the replay to see what actually happened.
Yeah, that sucks, though. The way he fell, like, it's one of those mental errors where he's there, he's, like, already, like, doing it, but his hand just slips at the last minute because his feet hit too hard beforehand, and that's just the worst, when you just fall in a transition. And I don't know, I feel so bad for him. I'm like, because you just know, he's like, oh my God, like, that's my season pretty much. That's how it goes. Like, oh, that has got to suck, man.
Yeah, I like the scoring format to go back to like our earlier episodes when we were, really praising it. I think it works out really well because they had the one win. They did get to move on to a relay, so they have a chance of redemption. And here's where I'm going to stir up controversy if there isn't already some out there.
Ooh, bring it.
The relay. Both Jimmy and Neil fell on those floating tiles, right? We talked before about, what's the rule for falling in, what counts as a fall in. And we thought maybe if your feet don't touch the bottom of the pool, or if you keep your hands on it, or whatever. Neil was not nearly as in as we've seen other people come back from. He was totally still on there.
Oh man, I mean, it's tough. Okay, so rewatching it, what happens is definitely Craver is the guy that isn't as in. The other guy's like fully in. However, Neil Craver does do a full flip around. He like holds onto a tile, wraps around, and he does get both his legs and his elbows into the water. But then he spins around and is on top of the tile. So if it's the bottom of the pool, Neil Craver shouldn't have been disqualified. And in many respects, when you look at it, when it comes to just like ending it, Neil Craver does have his elbows not in the water. However, there is a point when his elbows and his legs are in the water at the same time. That makes sense. Like if you see Ronda Rousey doing a judo throw and he just like spins the person around, it's kind of like that. He did like a full-on spin on that tile.
I should have replayed it back. So if he spun around the tile, then yeah, I guess that would make sense. He would have all four limbs in it at a given time. Yeah.
Yeah, he had four limbs in it for like maybe like half a second or a millisecond.
That's enough.
Yeah.
I think you get them redemption. I think you pulled it out of the water for them, so to speak. So I'll give them that.
Nice.
All right. So that was the first round. Grant and JoJo had to actually finish the race off because they had both fallen in, and Grant ended up winning it for Golden Hearts.
Said, I mean, it was cool by the fact that when you think about a relay and like all of a sudden halfway, both guys fall. And then, everybody's like, oh, what's going to happen? Because hearts are still racing, right? And then you see it comes down to literally a 2-obstacle finish. And it's who can get past the ring cycle or spin cycle in the freaking Warped Wall the fastest. I mean, wow. Imagine if fan favorites Golden Hearts lost because of that.
Well, I mean,
want to talk about a Twitter storm? I mean, man, I have a feeling there'd be a few salty fans out there.
Oh yeah, I got to mention too. JoJo Bynum is 40. How the heck is he 40?
I know, that's crazy, bro. That is crazy.
There's no way he looks even close to 40. He doesn't even look 30.
No, I hope I look like that when I'm 35.
Man. But yeah, moving on to the next race, we had Towers of Power versus Three Wishes, and that's when I realized our picks were going up against each other in the first round.
Man, I knew our picks were going up against each other, and I knew my pick was going to win.
Well,
I had no doubts in this one. I really didn't.
So they had the captains square off in the first round. Now that they don't do the 2-point round, I guess it doesn't really matter, right? They can run in any order they want.
Yeah, just put like your strongest. I mean, that said, I was excited, right? This is the matchups that you want to see. And I don't know. This was the one where I was like, this can go either way. It really could. And this can play like a major part of momentum for whichever team. Dude, they were flying. Absolutely flying. Thomas Stillings, though, this was an episode where Thomas Stillings really came out and showed where I think his biggest strength is, which is speed. The dude was phenomenal, technical, and really just stood out among his team as like one of the strongest ninjas in the sport. And we all know that, right? But he really like just elevated himself even more, I feel.
Yeah, this is his wheel.
Like, yeah, well, sorry, Rich, but I'm just saying like compared to Dan Polizzi, who I think also did well, but Dan Polizzi's in a similar scenario, right? He's also kind of like the namesake, the big name in his team, but he didn't really stand out as much as Thomas. So just like comparatively, if somebody was to make the argument of like, oh, well, yeah, of course, because he's captain, it's not the same. I mean, when you look at the two narratives, I feel like Thomas Stillings, even if you just look at this one round, Thomas Stillings really stood out a whole lot more.
Yeah, there's just little things that he did that stood out, right? The way he and a couple other ones in this episode are able to transition off TikTok and go under that cargo net without even touching it. Like their hair doesn't even brush it. They just slide right under it and keep moving in ways that I didn't even think was possible. Like you'd think you'd have to grab it with your hands and shimmy your way through. They do it in some way that is just insane.
Yeah, it requires a lot of confidence and comfort and body awareness, because you have to be fully aware of everything you're doing to time that jump and time that landing precisely without hitting that net.
But yeah, Thomas was great, and so was Brittany Hanks, who we weren't really sure what to expect from her. She was really, really good. Like, she got ahead of Selena, and they both got tied up in the first spin cycle, and Selena just lost her grip and flew backwards into the trampoline and like the back of the obstacle. That was
that was nasty, man. Almost avoided like a really bad injury. I mean, she could have got her leg stuck, or just many things could happen. Like, that's not something I'm going to blame on anybody. It's just one of the things that could happen, right, with a sport. You just, it's one of those things that are unavoidable. But I'm just really glad that she's okay.
I just remember, didn't she, on a similar obstacle, or but the same place in the course, isn't that where she injured herself in the last season?
Man, I have the worst memory. I'll have to go back and look, but very much could have. Maybe it's just something where she doesn't have the wingspan, or maybe she's got shoulder issues. I mean, when you're spinning and you put all your weight on your shoulder, and then you have to like grab onto something, if you miss that grab, all of your body weight and the swing and everything is going straight to your shoulder and your fingertips. And I don't know, man. It could be many things. I just don't know.
Huh.
I'll tell you this, though. Someone that has the best facials on the sidelines, Thomas Stillings. And I'm not trying to do kumbaya, because he's a friend. He's like, friend of ours. But like, dude, when you see, when you guys look back and you watch like each run, you see Thomas Stillings with a jovial, like almost kid-like look, where he's so freaking happy and cheering along. And I don't know, that stuff's infectious. I feel like Natalie Duran has something very similar. Just really positive vibed people, where it's not fake or anything, but just like genuine. It's really hard to describe, but when you see it, you know it.
Yeah, I feel like the Golden Hearts all around do, right? Like, that whole team is just like glowing, right? They're infectious. They have big personalities, and you just want to watch them succeed. And we'll get to, because they get to move on. Spoilers for the end. But yeah, they did take it home. 3 wishes. Nate misses feet on the TikTok, basically. It was just not a good scene.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate circumstances. I don't know. I'm not going to fault somebody for missing a jump.
Yes, it happens.
You guys already know how I feel about an obstacle that requires a far jump and people missing it. I'm not going to get into it.
Those 2 ninjas are the ones I mean, they look nothing alike, really, at the end of the day. But those last names get me screwed up every time. I cannot keep Burkhalter and Burkhardt separate ever in my head.
This whole episode, I just... yeah, just please, why'd you guys do that? You know they did it on purpose, just to mess with everybody.
So then we moved on to the finals. 3 wishes versus Golden Hearts. And I literally forgot it was going to be running the full course. I'm watching and got so nervous like halfway through Thomas versus Grant. And as he went up the warp wall, I'm like, well, geez, they lost again. And then realized, oh, wait, no, they still hold the whole second half to run.
That kind of surprised me, too, because this episode is going by so fast.
Yeah, it was like, okay, are we already here yet? Like, this seemed really quick.
This was a cool run, though. I mean, one of the best runs when it came to Grant McCartney and Thomas Stillings is the fact that, like, they were neck and neck for the first portion of this race up till the pipes. And, you see Grant McCartney gut ahead, so you're like, oh, man, Thomas doesn't, like, Thomas isn't going to be able to make a chance to catch up, because Grant is kind of known for going fast. He's very fast for his size. But really, I mean, it just became more engrossing by the fact that Thomas made up that lead, and it was almost neck and neck for the back portion of that course, Rich.
I thought Thomas had it pretty easily. As they're going along zigzag climb, I was like, oh, he's got it because of the size difference and everything. But man, did Grant make a good push towards the end. I thought he was going to make a comeback. It was the Mitsubishi drive of the night, or where the heck it's called. And it earned it. It definitely earned it. It was very cool. Very good.
Yeah, props to both guys, because we've seen when it comes to this portion and you have to do the whole course by yourself, guys are completely exhausted going up the warped wall and right before the zigzag. It's typically, the 2 parts where they take a break. they didn't take a single break. I think Grant had like a 2-second break before the salmon ladder, but that's it. That is it. And these guys pushed themselves to an extreme that you just rarely see, and they gave it their all, and I really appreciate that. That's the kind of stuff I want to see. And, man, it was so close at the end. I don't even know what to say, man. Just, that was a really cool run. If there's a run to see from this episode, guys, that's it.
Yeah, definitely. And then they fast-forwarded a run, which made me do a double take, because I was thinking, well, why would you have to fast forward a run when we didn't have like a long drawn out sequences earlier? It just seemed really weird. Brittany versus Natalie, to fast forward it. Natalie missed the wall 3 times, so Brittany ends up winning because she had completed it. And I was like, I would have liked to see that. I was a little annoyed and confused.
It makes sense in the overall scope when
when
at
you
the
see
end
what
of the
comes.
episode.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know. Do you really want to see one of the your favorite ninjas failing at the warped wall of all things on Ninja versus Ninja 3 times? And that's not really a way you want it to go out. So
maybe not.
I have a feeling Natalie Duran is not minding that part getting skipped on that.
Probably not, but I guess I don't see any shame in it. I remember seeing some of our favorite ninjas.
Shame. We all know Natalie can do it, right? So.
Yeah, but that's why I like Ninja versus Ninja, Team Ninja Warrior. In season 1, we saw people that we know can do it struggle. I remember watching Noah Kaufman fail the warped wall, and I was like, what? How is that even possible? You realize they're so exhausted. They burn themselves out on that first half of the course that the warped wall isn't a given.
And just an off-side thing, I switch over my screens back to the Skype, and all of a sudden I forgot that we were on video chat, and all of a sudden a big old thing of Rich full screen is like in my face, and I'm like, whoa, I'm like, what? Because I usually am on the side screen watching the episode again. Sorry guys,
right.
Just that was new. Wasn't expecting,
right in your face, like, whoa.
Rich would just be like, what's up, buddy? I'm like, oh, shit, crap. Anyways, moving on.
Something very strange happens in the very next run that changes the momentum and the whole show. And I'm curious what your take is on it, Bijan. Brian got ahead of Neil Craver. That's Brian Burkhardt, just to be clear. And they're both on the salmon ladder. It's a very close race, but Brian's getting ahead. He's actually doing really well on the rumbling dice, and his dice came off the tracks when he was going to dismount, and they ended up losing because of it, forcing a relay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an unfortunate circumstance. Of the obstacles I trained on from American Ninja Warrior, I'm actually the best at the rumbling dice, and it's one of those things where you learn very early on, don't ever put all of your body weight on one of those rungs because it's going to slide out from underneath you. I'm very glad that thing was on a cable because that dude could have just flowed. Well, I mean, there's water underneath him, so I guess that wouldn't have mattered all that much. But yeah, I think it's a situation where when you're on the show and you're going so fast, there's such a likelihood of making a small mental error. And I blame nothing on him. He was so ready to go. It was his final swing. You want all the momentum on your, putting it on one rung. But it just swung out from underneath him. And I have a feeling as soon as that happened, he knew he messed up. He knew it.
Well, that was the thing that kind of confused me, I guess. Because I realized it had to do with his momentum and something about what he was doing. But I guess I don't fully understand how... I picture being on a track that you can't really get it to do that if it does what it's supposed to do. Isn't it fit in there in a way that it's just meant to just kind of roll within those tracks? Like you shouldn't be able to dislodge it.
It depends on how it's made, really. But the thing is that you want always 2 hands on it to even out the weight, so to speak. And what he did is on the final swing, he had all of his weight perpendicular arms also to it, so when he swung forward, it was almost like on the wedge if you were to grab that bar and just swing it completely the right side forward and just flies out from underneath you. Like, you just fall into the water.
I think I see what you're saying.
It's kind of like that where he probably popped the whole thing off the track. The track isn't like super fit in there. It's pretty loose on there. That way you get more momentum where it can swing more. And there's the possibility of making these errors. So it was both the switch grip and the swing up where he kicked up really hard, where he probably just jilted that full thing for like the right side forward, and it completely went off track. And once it's off track, like, I don't know if you guys ever have like sliding glass doors or something. Once that's off track, it is hard to put it back on.
Right.
So yeah, dude was screwed at that point. I don't know. It's one of those things where he's probably going to be like, oh, man, like, I have a feeling he's going to be beating himself up. Or people, maybe not beating himself up, because, like, people make those mistakes, but probably, like, there's going to be some jokes happening at his gym. It's like, this is how you do the rumbling dice. Always have two hands, blah, blah, blah,
It could be. It could be. So it went to a relay at that point, and I don't know, I did give the odds to Golden Hearts with a full-on relay across the whole course. I thought I kind of give them a little bit of an edge here, but not much. I really thought Three Wishes was still going to take it home, if not in the first relay, in the second one.
Well, it's tough. When you look at the experience, and the relay does play a stronger part when it comes to experience, right? Especially by the fact that the competitors are only doing portions of the course, so therefore they can give it their all, and you don't have to worry about expending too much energy, like we did in the previous versions where they have to do the full course. So I thought that played in far more to the Golden Hearts because all three of those competitors know how to do every single portion of this course. I'm fully confident that Natalie Duran is capable of doing the second half of this course, right? When it came to the Three Wishes, we just don't know when it comes to, especially the woman. What's her name? I'm sorry.
Brittany Hanks.
Brittany Hanks. I'm not sure how capable she is in different portions. So, yeah, she can do the part that she's done before, but how well is she going to do giving it her all when Natalie Duran is giving it her all at the same portion, like at full-on speed? And I think that played a major part when it came to this race, by the fact that Natalie Duran was able to get so much further than her in their portion of the course.
But yeah, in the relay itself, we had Natalie opened up a big lead, right? She showed what she can do. Three Wishes couldn't quite close the gap, and then Brian ends up falling on the zigzag climb in a nasty fall in between the pads, from what it looks like, and injured his shoulder.
The second this relay was really a series of unfortunate events that really played to the demise of Three Wishes. And it sucks, man. You never want people to get injured. But this sucks. And I really, initially I was like, oh, man, really, Ninja Warrior production, all this stuff. But then you watch the replay, and really, what else could they have done, right?
Yeah.
They had the padding. They were there. They had the precautions. It's just literally the one area
right.
that you can get hurt on is where the two pads are connected to each other or meet up, right? And you fall right between that crack. Literally the worst case scenario happened, and he got injured, and I really hope they're taking care of the guy. I have to imagine, I don't know how injuries work when it comes to American Ninja Warrior. I don't know if they take care of you or whatever, but I really hope they do, because that was a freak accident that happened due to him falling, in the course design. Blame nobody, but I hope he's getting taken care of.
Yeah, I think judging by the way they phrased it and what it looked like, I think he was okay overall. They just, as a precaution, they didn't want him running again that night. They specifically said that night. So
okay,
I'm hoping that it was just a minor
he dislocated
injury.
his shoulder or something. But I was just like, oh man, he hurt himself.
Yeah.
Okay, that I'm actually happy about. Then it's good to be safe. So I'm perfectly fine with them taking him out, being like, be precautious. We'll get you checked out, get X-rays, whatever they needed to do. But if it turns out that in the long end he was okay, and it was just like a little stinger or something, cool with me. I'm happy about that.
And this is the part of the episode where someone's going to write in and give me the full rundown of the emergency room vision.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know? How do you not know? He's been out of Ninja for 6 months because of it. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I do appreciate getting the info as much as I like to gripe about it sometimes. I love getting the background info.
Yeah.
So if you have anything to let us know, please do.
But back to one of the things, or one of the parts of the run, Brittany Hanks really struggled on the pipes. Now, do you blame, or not blame is the right word, but do you attribute Golden Hearts getting so much further to Natalie Duran doing well on the pipes, or do you attribute it more to Brittany Hanks struggling?
It's 6 one, half a dozen the other, really. I think Brittany would have been fine. I think she would have dismounted fine, especially in the second relay, if Natalie wasn't right in her way and got her all screwed up as they're like clamoring on the same pole. And I think once she got messed up, it was hard to recover. If she could have kept her momentum going, I think she would have been fine. So, I don't know that Brittany necessarily did anything wrong. It was just a hard recovery after that little battle she had.
Yeah, so you think it was more of a momentum thing. That makes sense.
So stepping in was Geoff Lancaster, who we have seen before. We know he's a good ninja, and he did great. He did really well. I thought he did a really admirable job, kept the pace going for the team, but they had fallen behind again. Natalie just kind of pulled ahead a pretty good lead, and Thomas couldn't close the gap when it came down to it on the final leg. It just didn't happen for them. So 3 wishes went down, and Golden Hearts won.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, what can you do? I think overall, the team that was better won, I have to say, right? You can't attribute it to like, 3 wishes, lost a guy, and, they were robbed, all this stuff. At the end of the day, the Golden Hearts earned their victory. And I wish it was under better circumstances. But hopefully everybody's okay. And yeah, Golden Hearts. I got to give them props. We neither of us chose them, but they earned this victory, and I'm happy to see them doing well because they are very, very entertaining people. And I like the entertainment.
I keep looking back through these episodes and thinking like, this semifinal, it's going to be an all-star semifinals the way we're going. Like every team that makes it through is full of fan favorites. It is going to be insane by the time we get to the semifinals.
Yeah, I'm very curious to deconstruct everybody that makes it to the finals. If we see something about them that stands out from the rest of the crowd, is it experience? Is it comfort? Is it just speed, body build? Age? Could be many things. And, I don't want to look at it now because we're what, like 1/3 of the way there? So there's still a lot of teams making it to the finals or the quarterfinals or whatever you want to call it. But I think it'll be interesting to take an examination of all the teams that make it this far at the very end of the season.
So looking ahead to the next episode, we have 4 new teams taking the course. This is going to be a weird one.
This is where the picks really get juicy and fun, man. Who do we got?
We got the Lab Rats, Chris Wilczewski, Michelle Warnke, and Brian Wilczewski. The Big Dog Ninjas, Jody Avila,
shame,
Brandy Monteverde, and Josh Salinas. Iron Josh, back in the house. One of the great rookies from last season. The Ballers, that's Lauren Ball, Paul Casimir, and Mei Ling Wang. And Team Alpha with Brent Stephenson, Sydney Olsen, and David Yarder. That
is, wow. I really don't have a team that's like standing out more than the other in terms of strength.
Yeah, I'm a little, you know what? I got my pick. I got my pick pretty easily here. And here's my reasoning. I'm going to give my reasoning and give you my pick.
Let's hear it.
You just said a minute ago that it's hard to tell what the differentiator is from these teams that we've had winning each episode. I disagree. I think the key to victory is 100% on the female competitor. So there is no question.
No, you're picking.
Lab Rats. 100% has to be Lab Rats. Because no one is stronger on this course than Michelle Warnke.
Yeah, and I don't know. That was the team I was like, well, looking at it, probably Lab Rats. So you got them. fully agree. Lab Rats probably are the team to beat going into this episode. You have the strongest woman out of the crowd on with her, but also there's the experience factor. These guys train all year round obstacles. They know the comfort level of everything going on this course. So there's not that that nervousness or even that like stiffness going into each obstacle, right? They're going to be flowy. They're going to be calm. They're going to be loose. So I really expect them to do very well. Very good pick. I'm going to choose somebody different because, dude, I got it, right?
Yeah.
Who are the other three teams? Or actually,
Big Dog Ninjas.
Who are the other team? Like, they're going to be going against Lab Rats. Who's the teams that's not going against Lab Rats at the beginning?
The Ballers and Team Alpha. So Lauren Ball's team or Brent Stephenson's team. You got a couple of old schoolers here.
One eternity later.
You can change it.
All right.
You can just come back and say,
I'll say,
oh, you know, I changed my mind. There is one team that stands out. I'm not picking a different team. That's the one that's going to
No. I will say this. This is a tough one for the team against, on the second half. But I'm going to go with the Ballers. And the reason, I think David Yarder is going to give them a tough run. Like, the guys are going to be tough. They're pretty even. Paul Casimir and Lauren Ball are a very good team, but the other team has good ones too. But I think the key is going to be the female runner, just like you. And Mei Ling Wong is so low-key good. Like, you just hear it and you're like, oh, Mei Ling Wong, I know that name. No. If you guys look at her track record when it comes to Team Ninja Warrior, she is very, very good when it comes to the racing portion of this sport. So I think she's going to make the difference and, lead the Ballers to the finals. And they might be underdogs, man, but the Ballers may give Lab Rats a run for their money. I think they might. So they're my pick. Put it in the books.
Cool. And Brian Wolczewski doesn't have any step story about, so that'll be a big plus.
He's got some steps in the beginning, man. Don't jinx him.
Oh no. Poor Brian.
How
so
amazingly funny would it be if he falls at the beginning?
No, that won't be funny.
Because nobody falls on those steps. I gotta say, I'm a jerk. I will die laughing. I'll feel bad for him later, but I will die laughing if he falls on those things.
I can't believe he fell in Vegas. Like, they went on about it to the point that I thought, there's no way after all they're saying that he's going to go down, and he did again. Like, it's
going to be a thing. Like, people are going to celebrate when he passes the first obstacle in Vegas. People will genuinely celebrate. There will be fireworks in the air, It'll just be a whole shebang. Brian Wolczewski made it! Yay!
So that is it for this week. Thank you all for listening. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can reach me as rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151.
All right. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great week.
Peace, love, and deuces, y'all.